It is absolutely not a recurve blade. Many people have said that. It is an awesome blade. It is not recurve. It's not even flat. You can rock it on a flat surface, so don't worry about that, folks. How's it going? I was compelled to make a video on this knife because I love it. I just got it about 3 days ago, carried it through 2 days of work, used it mostly for, food and other stupid things that guys like me that love to collect knives use knives on. Because if you don't have a job that you need to use a knife, you have to kind of find reasons. Or you don't. You just sit there and play with them like I like to do. This knife is perfect. Almost perfect. Nothing's perfect, but this is a fantastic knife, the ZT0609. If you're having any doubts, I could tell you right now, you're not going to regret buying this knife. If you have the 220 bucks and then another 10 or 20, depending on what they're going to charge for that tool to get the pivot out, you're going to love this knife and you're not going to regret buying it. I know I don't. So, first thing I want to talk about is the Detent. It is nailed. They nailed it. You can hear it. And when you get it in hand, you can feel it. The best way to describe the Detent is, if you're a ZT fan, I'm sure you have the original 0801, or you did at one point. It's basically the exact same thing with a lighter blade, but yet it flies out almost the same. It almost feels like you're flicking the 0801. This is a little more gratifying. And as you know, with the 0801, they came out with the TI, and I think they perfected it in the sense that you don't have to put as much pressure. This is probably the perfect Detent right here. However, this does give you a little more gratification when you actually get it to break. Yeah, I guess that's perfect. So that's basically what it feels like, the 0801, the original, when you open this little knife. I'm going to call it Little Big Knife, because it may be little. I mean, it's small. But when you open it up, the blade is just, it's almost like, where did that come from? It's the perfect size. You know, you have your big knives, and you have your little knives, and you have your little big knife. It's just amazing. I mean, you look at, here's the 0801, the edge geometry. The 0801's only maybe 2/8 longer. All right. The best comparison for this knife is your mini crook, which I'm going to redo a video on this. I had done a video and it was just ridiculous, but this is my favorite knife now, my favorite pocket knife. It's perfect. This is a perfect EDC pocket knife that can handle everything you're mostly going to do. However, they're the same size, virtually, but yet the 0609 has about 1/8 of an inch more cutting edge. Yet the mini crook has almost 1/4 inch longer handle. So you see where I'm going with that? Here's another prime example. Big knife, right? The golden nipple ring. I mean, that's a big knife. This is the carbon fiber version. Whip out the nice wide blade. Well, guess what? The 0609, when you're matching up cutting edge, is a hair longer. In a much smaller knife. I mean, when you put that there, look at it. So, it's just amazing. You whip this blade out and joy. It's just joy. Very well done. I still am not sure. I haven't carried it long enough. I'm pretty sure this is still going to continue to be my favorite knife. But what a joy to play with. Very thin. Thinner than your mini crook. By a little bit. I don't do measurements, you know that. I would say it's a little thicker when you get to the, where it bevels out here than your Golden Eye. But just a fantastic knife. Full-size Sebenza. Line them up, it's almost about 3/4 of an inch longer almost looking. But then when you match up the blades, it's only about 1/8 of an inch for a blade. So what I'm trying to get across with this 0609 is the blade just pops out of nowhere on you. You're gonna love it. If you want a great site for comparison videos, size comparison, because it is a small knife, you're gonna, if you don't know it's a small knife going into it, you might be like, what the hell when you get it? So it's very important to research the size of it. A great site to go to that I had seen a video on was USAblade. Is it USAblade? I think it's USAblades. If I'm wrong in that, I might put something in the description about it. But he gives you a whole bunch of different blades to compare it to, kind of like I'm going to do now. There's your 943, your 940-2. I mean, you're looking at, it's kind of like the 940s in that sense, but yet it's actually slightly longer than the 940, the blade length. But it's like that where it's a small knife, but you get a lot of blade. I mean, very satisfying for anything you want to do. It's your CLA. It's longer than the CLA, but yet about as thick. So if you're a CLA fan, you'll know that it's comparable to that. Very sharp. The bevels were almost perfect. It's hard to get perfect bevels. I think they're a little deeper on this side than on that side. Centering was perfect. So basically fit and finish was almost perfect. And I couldn't be happier with it. I think that's pretty... Oh, a big thing I wanted to mention is some people have said they think it's a recurve blade. Slight recurve. It's not. I think it's an optical illusion with the cutout here and the detent, with the chamfering, which they did a fantastic job of chamfering this knife. I mean, there's no hot spots on it. All the way down to the flipper tab. Really, really well done knife. Lightweight, great pocket clip, small, good retention. But see if I could prove. Best way to ever check if there's any doubts, and that's the one thing I was worried about. If you put it on here, it's actually, I wish this thing would focus. Focus. There you go. It is not a recurve. If anything, it's got a round, so I can rock it. It just looks like it might be slightly recurved. So It is not a recurve, so if you're like me and you don't like to sharpen recurve blades, don't worry about it. You don't have to. So what I can tell you, or what I've been basically saying, buy this knife. You're not going to regret it. Very, very well done. And I don't regret it at all. Ow.